Hey guys, it's Stacy, and today I am doing a video that I have wanted to do for a while now, and that is the books that got me into reading. I didn't start reading as a child because I could not read much when I was a child. I am dyslexic and I never really learned how to read until later on in my life. I didn't learn how to read until first grade. I was in first grade 2 times, and I didn't learn how to read until the second time in first grade, because I had such a hard time and I had really bad teachers. So I never got into reading, but I finally got into reading around like 13 to like 15 in that time period. And there's going to be a second part to this video about books that kept me wanting to read, like after I read these, but then I still wasn't reading a lot. But that makes no sense. But there's going to be a part 2 to this video eventually. Let's just get on with the books. So the first one is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I don't talk about this series much on my channel because I mean, like, I love this series for the nostalgia, but I don't know how much I would love it now. I do kind of want to reread it. I really like the first book. I don't like the second book, but I love the third book, which is an unpopular opinion because I love the third book. But I read this because my 7th grade class was going to see this movie when it first came out. I didn't go see it because I was out of town, but I did read this book in 7th grade, and my mom bought me all the books because I was finally actually participating in something in my school, which was reading this, and I loved it then. I love it now for nostalgia reasons. My copy is very beat up. I colored it in right there, and then it says my name. 7th grade me did not appreciate her books like 19-year-old me does now. But, of course, The Hunger Games. Next is Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. I read this book way before the hype. I read this book when this paperback first came out. I don't even think Clockwork Prince was out yet. And I didn't read The Mortal Instruments until way later on because I didn't know about those. But I love this book, and I reread this first one a couple of times, but I never continued on until a couple of years ago. But I did read this. I love this. I love it. I loved it then. I love it now. Since I have reread this, so I know I still love it. And I want to reread it again because this is one of my favorite stories ever, and by Cassandra Clare. I love Tessa as a main character. I hate Will, but I love Jim. I just love this series. I love all the characters. I love the story. I love the world. It's just, I'm very attached to the Infernal Devices. Next book I have is the only contemporary on this list, and that is Paper Towns by John Green. I used to never read contemporary. I hated contemporary, and I didn't start getting into them until like last year. But I read this one because my best friend loves John Green, and this is the only John Green book I like, but I love this book so freaking much, like a lot. And this is one of his lesser popular books. Like, most people don't like this book, but I love it. I have a signed edition my best friend got me for Christmas one year. Yes, it is signed. I love this book. Most people don't like it, but I love the road trip aspect in it. Even though I hate Margot, I also love Margot just for who she is, but she's a pain in the ass. I just love this book, even though most people hate it. I've got 2 more books to show you, and the next one is the Beautiful Creature series by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. I have loved this series for a long time. I have reread the first 2 books. I want to continue reading it. This is a very unpopular opinion. Most people hate this series, but I love it. I have been reading it for a long time. I don't even think the last 2 books were out when I started reading this, but I love it. It's a witchy gothic book set in the South. Like, what more could I want? I'm from the South. I love witches. I love gothic type stories. I love Ethan, our main character, so much. Ethan and Lena are like one of my all-time favorite OTPs. I just love this series with my entire being. I will never not love this series. I want to reread it like 1,000 times. I want to reread this first one just because I love it so much. And I have the movie cover because I did see the movie when it came out, and I like the movie now, but then I hated it because there was so much that wasn't in it that I wanted to be in it, and it was just, it's a time. I love this book so much, and I just wish more people loved it as much as I did. And now for my favorite series of all time. If you have watched me at all before, you probably know Sherilyn Kenyon is my favorite author, but I do have a favorite series by her that I have been reading since I was like 12, and that is The Chronicles of Nick. I adore this series. I have the symbol that's right here. I have it tattooed on my arm. This series means the world to me. I've been reading this since I was 12. This book series has helped me through so many bouts of depression and mania type episodes that I've experienced. The series is just something I always come back to. I've reread these books. I love them. It's like this is what made me obsessed with Sherilyn Kenyon, and I love Nick as our main character in this. I love all the characters in this, even the bad guys, all the side characters, the found family in this. This series just means the world to me. Like most people, Harry Potter is their all-time favorite series and got them into reading. I didn't read Harry Potter as a kid. I didn't read Harry Potter until I was 16, and I do love it, but this is my Harry Potter. It means the world to me. It was the first book series I really ever read and wanted to keep reading, and I will forever be grateful for this series, and I will never stop loving it. I will make my kids read these. I adore this series with every fiber of my being, more than anything in the entire world. It's just amazing, and a lot of people don't like the series either, and a lot of people haven't read it, and I understand that why people don't like it, but for me, it means the world to me, and I will never not love these books. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in another one. Bye!